Through the window, Eric can see the two arguing and getting into the car and leaving. Thinking about it, Avi Arad's impolite attitude and words just now made Isaac Perlmutter very dissatisfied. An exchange can see that these two people are not the same way at all. The former is a standard businessman. The world is not as big as money. This kind of person is easy to deal with because everything can be clearly marked in their hearts. The latter is more difficult to deal with and wants an old otaku to sell his treasured figures and cards. Unless the sky falls, don't think about anyone coming forward. Since it was difficult to do, Eric didn't plan to do it himself, so he simply left it to Isaac Perlmutter. For his own benefit, he will do whatever it takes to think of him. As for the equity replacement he proposed, it is not unacceptable, but it must be grasped well. MGM currently has 5 shares, of which it owns 98.2%. Judy holds 1%, Billy and Bordeaux each have 0.3%, and Warren has 0.2%. At the beginning, the 4 of them followed Eric to bet on the World Cup, and each won some money, totaling $20 million in shares. Although the shares are small, they are worth millions of dollars when MGM relists a few months later. If Isaac Perlmutter and Avi Arad make a deal, Eric's heart is that the former can trade up to 4% of the shares, and the latter no more than 2.5%. And he can acquire 27% of Marvel's equity and become the largest individual shareholder. Then use MGM's name to acquire 20% of the shares in Beechcraft Toys so that its direct and indirect control can reach 47%. Does not violate the rules, but also properly turns Marvel into his own word, and no one is qualified to challenge his own status. After seeing off the two, Judy came over to report on her work. Now she's the deputy head of both the script and production departments, and MGM knows that this is Eric's most important right-hand man. Boss, regarding the invitation to Inception, Christian Bale has agreed to star in it, and his asking salary is $6.5 million. Heath Ledger is also very willing to star and probably worried that the asking price will be too high and will be screened out, so he lowered his salary to only $2 million, which is below the market price. Hearing this, Eric laughed. It seems that they are all people with vision, and they know the excellence of this movie. That's right, Heath Ledger hasn't been having a good time lately, and both Kelly's Party and Sin Eater aren't doing very well in commercial art. He had hoped to secure the #1 position in Australia's new generation of actors with these 2 films, but unfortunately failed. In short, now he urgently needs a word-of-mouth work to make a comeback. How big a blow to an actor is to continuously hitting the street. Everyone in the entertainment industry knows that it is easy to be branded as box office poison. When Transformers auditioned for the actor, I said that I would cooperate with him, and this time I can be regarded as fulfilling my promise. Accept their pay demands, Nicole Kidman and Charlize Theron, and I'll go and say it myself. Personally, it seems that you have a really good relationship with these 2 women. Judy suddenly teased. Watch your tone, ma'am. Go out if nothing else. And so on. Clint Eastwood agreed to direct and star in $1 Million Baby, and the 2 jobs cost a total of $14 million. Is his market price so high? Said Eric, a little surprised. Judy explained. Because this old man gave up box office dividends, he probably also thinks that sports themes have no box office potential. Hilary Swank also agreed to play the lead actress, and her salary was much cheaper, only $4 million. Speaking of this, Judy suddenly frowned. Actually, I've always felt a little unfair. Christian Bale hasn't won a prestigious award, but he can ask for $6.5 million. And Hilary Swank is an Oscar-winning actress, but she only dares to ask for $4 million. This phenomenon is really unreasonable, and the difference between the salaries of actors and actresses is too big. Eric laughed and said, What do you want to say? It's sexist? Judy waved her hand. Forget it. It's just that I'm a woman. I can't help but complain. The amount of remuneration is determined by the market in the final analysis, and the choice of the market is the choice of the audience. The audience naturally includes male audiences, as well as female audiences, so half of the reason why actresses' salaries are low is due to the women themselves. We all understand that it is women who choose to lower themselves. Eric spread his hands. Yes, I can't blame others for my choice. In fact, as far as the vast majority of actors are concerned, the remuneration standards for men and women are the same, and there is no discrimination at all. The standard for group performances is $100 a day, and the newcomer who plays a supporting role for the first time will not be paid more than $20,000, and everyone starts the same. And these actors account for more than 99% of all practitioners, so the remuneration of actors and actresses is also very fair. As for the less than 1% of the big stars, these people belong to the survivorship bias and don't represent the actor group at all. And the reason why the salaries of big stars are unequal, the audience should pat their chests and ask themselves what the reason is. It's the same with the modeling industry, why the best female models earn so much more than the male models, and men should ask themselves why. Okay, let's not talk about it. Anyway, I agreed to the salary, and I will connect with Clint Eastwood as soon as possible, and I hope the project will start within 5 months. The reason why such a long time is given to prepare is mainly to give Hilary Swank time to practice and learn boxing. This is a movie that will hit the Oscars, and all aspects must be done perfectly to have hope. Also, as long as nothing else, this type of film will not actually take more than 2 months to shoot. Clint Eastwood's filming is well known in the industry for efficiency, and it is normal to do it within a month and a half, and it will be released next year. Judy made a note of the request. Then there's The Passion of the Christ. The film is finished, and Mel Gibson wants to invite her to an internal test screening. Also on hand were evangelicals in Colorado Springs and religious leaders in Pennsylvania to make sure the film didn't break the Bible. Hearing this, Eric refused without thinking about it. He had no interest in this kind of purely religious film, and he didn't want to be involved in anything other than distribution relationship. Although Monica Bellucci is included in the main cast, there is no need to get to know each other. Wallflowers? But in Eric's mind, he is still inferior to Theron. Just send a non-believer to it. It's enough to judge from the point of view of plot and art, and let's set the release date for February next year. Okay, and finally there's the issue of Mean Girls. The Olsen sisters don't want to participate, so do you have any ideas? Do you want to persuade the two of them in person, or do you choose another actor? Eric thought for a moment and said, then go to the open audition, and the director will choose Andrea. Her basic skills are very solid, and her sense of business and art is also in place. And with me in 2 projects, her ability to direct independently has been greatly improved. When House of Cards is finished, she's going to love her new job, and it's always more exciting than making a short film. Judy laughed weirdly. As long as it is the assistant director of your project, there is no one who is not happy to improve his ability, who makes you like to be a shopkeeper. Ha ha ha. This can be regarded as cultivating talents in disguise. Fast forward to the end of August, and after a month of campaigning, Get Out of Desperate Town has earned nearly $135 million at the box office, an absolute super bumper harvest. There is still about half a month before its potential is close, and the final box office in North America will not be a problem to exceed $150 million, and it can be expected to exceed $160 million. However, the overseas box office is far inferior to that of North America. Eric thinks that the country with the highest overseas box office should be France. After all, there are many black buddies there. In another 10 years, Paris will be occupied, and the old Parisians will be driven out of France. As a result, I didn't expect the highest box office to appear in South Korea, and when it was launched in Europe at the same time, it had already won more than $9 million at the box office. On the other hand, the highest in Europe is the United Kingdom, followed by France, which only won more than $7 million at the box office. Is it because of the class oppression in South Korea and the superiority of the U.S. military stationed in South Korea that the sticks resonate with racial discrimination? At present, the total overseas box office can exceed 45 million US dollars, and it is expected that the global market can win 60 million US dollars. While Get Out of Desperate Town continued to reap the box office, Happy Death Day also reached the release time. As the first film starring Godot, although it is a small budget, Eric still decided to hold a premiere. The scale is not large, and the media and some well-known film critics in Los Angeles and nearby cities are mainly invited to participate. After all, it's your own girl. Who will pet if you don't spoil yourself? And now that it is well received, it will also have a driving effect on the Transformers box office 2 months later, so Eric also attended the premiere for the first time. You know, he hasn't attended this kind of event since he attended the premiere of Red Dragon last year. The red carpet is not set up for a long time. Most of the fans are hired for money, and the atmosphere of the group performers is very good, and there is no difference from the premiere of a blockbuster movie on the surface. After the process is completed, it will begin to enter the film link. The original plot of Happy Death Day is very bloody. The heroine began to indulge herself and alienate her father because her mother died because she had the same birthday as her mother. She turned herself into a scumbag, and she didn't have a birthday at first, and finally, after going through a time loop, she was whitewashed and reconciled, and became a good girl. What bullshit logic! Your mother wasn't killed by your father, that's why you became bad. Is also covered with a layer of skin of time loop, otherwise this kind of bloody movie will definitely end up in a violent death. With such a crotch-pulling plot, Eric must change it drastically. First of all, the role of the heroine's father was deleted, and it was directly changed to lose her father when she was young, and then because of her own mistakes, it led to the accidental death of her mother. That's why she closed her heart, gradually degenerated, and used depravity to numb her pain, which made sense. But there must also be a degree of depravity. Happy Death Day seems to be a horror movie, but it is actually more like a youth comedy movie. In particular, the heroine's various ways of dying are intertwined, and the effect created is not only terrifying, but a little funny. With cheerful music, there is a feeling of watching fun. So Eric deleted the plot of the heroine being a junior and changed it to her choosing to ask for help after being killed again and again. And the teacher and friends finally decide to help her and are killed again and again by the murderer. All this made her feel the true feelings of the world so that she could re-exonerate herself and reach reconciliation. On the big screen, after the lion's head roared, the movie officially began. Godot quietly grabbed Eric's hand and whispered, "Honey, I just walked the red carpet and interviewed, and I feel so nervous." Amused by her coquettish appearance, Eric grinned. "You will get used to it in the future. Adjust your mood, and you will have to be interviewed later." "Did you notice my shoes? Aren't they too flat? I should be wearing a pair of high heels." "Forget the idea. You're already taller than Benjamin McKenzie, and if you wear high heels, how embarrassed will he be on stage?" He is right. Go to me when it's over." "Itchy, wanted?" asked Eric teasingly. Godot scratched his palm and replied unabashedly, "Well, I need you to fill my heart and body." As he spoke, he licked his lips, his eyes dripping. A little more than an hour later, the film screening ended. Many viewers and media people spontaneously stood up and applauded, and MGM did not spend money on this link, which was a natural reaction of others. After all, they are rookie directors and rookie actors, and film critics and reporters will not have too high requirements for them, and the quality of the film has exceeded many people's expectations. Directors and actors such as Godot, the Russo brothers, and Benjamin McKenzie took to the stage to continue their interviews. During this period, the screenwriter was asked, and the attention of the media was drawn to Eric. He didn't want to go on stage, but he still had to go up and answer a few questions. After more than half an hour, the Q&A ended and the reception continued, while Eric left early. Went straight to Godot's apartment and waited until about 11 o'clock in the evening, when Wonder Woman finally finished socializing and returned to her room. After washing up, lying on the bed, the two began to turn the Phoenix upside down, telling about the lovesickness during this time. Waves of shouts disturbed the next-door Valafali, who really couldn't help it, so he simply walked out of the house. Her heart was broken. "It's not over. I put up with you for an hour, and you did it for another hour. I thought it was finally time to stop, and you guys are still going on, so that no one can live? I'm tired of listening, but I'm not tired of doing it. It's too much. It's a bone-scraping steel knife. Sooner or later you two bastards will be scraped to death." Los Angeles Times. I was invited to the premiere of MGM's new film, Happy Death Day, and as a non-horror audience, I didn't expect much from the movie. Although the Russo brothers are not new directors, their works really have nothing to introduce, and I only know a Transformers with the label on Gal Gadot, but unfortunately it has not been released yet. As for Benjamin McKenzie, who is even more of a newcomer, I have no impression of this actor at all. But when the movie opened, I gradually immersed myself in it, similar to the time loop of Groundhog Day, with the constant killing of death and rebirth. In the end, the heroine finds the murderer step by step and reconciles with her bad past self. It's a horror movie that's not scary, it's fun, and it's recommended to bring your significant other or friends with you, and you'll enjoy the 100 minutes. San Francisco Post. Happy Death Day is an excellent chick movie, and unlike MGM's other horror film, Get Out, Happy Death Day, which combines horror, suspense, and humor greatly. It's not as deep as Get Out, but it's more fun than the former, and it's worth the ticket price when girls bring their girlfriends to the cinema. ABC Entertainment Online. Heading into September, I was looking for a good movie in the cinema, and then Happy Death Day came into my sights. I admit that I was attracted to the appearance of Gal Gadot on the poster and wanted to see what this Transformers girl was capable of. The movie isn't over yet, my review is out, and Gal Gadot has to be complimented on her, who doesn't look like a newbie at all. I was able to switch seamlessly between the image of a green tea and a good girl, and I also showed a scene of perseverance and courage in the fight with the murderer. It's rare to see an actress who has so many qualities in her, and I can probably understand why she was chosen to be the heroine of Transformers. My rating for Happy Death Day is 75 points, an excellent horror masterpiece. CBS Entertainment. Happy Death Day is a movie that you don't expect much, but it can surprise you. The clever conception of the film and the sound logical reasoning allowed it to justify itself without obvious loopholes. The performance of all the actors is up to standard, and as Gal Gadot, who is playing the lead role for the first time, I have to say that this girl conquered me. Early in the morning, Eric and Gadot were still sleeping under the covers. After a tiring night, Gadot said that he came 8 times. She belonged to a special system, and the first time it was difficult, Eric worked for more than half an hour to reach the peak. But then it's simple. Once every few minutes when it's fast, once every 10 seconds when it's slow, and finally the whole person becomes a puddle of ice cream. Even though she kept fit all the time according to Eric's requirements, she was confused by waves of peaks. Knock knock. There was a knock on the door, and Eric slowly opened his eyes and patted Gadot. The other man twisted his body, snorting in dissatisfaction through his nose, his eyes still closed, and he hugged Eric even tighter. "Who is it?" "Me." Judy's voice came from outside the door.
"Come in."
Rubbing her eyes, Eric didn't shy away from her. Judy didn't knock on the door when she was in college, and she had already seen what she shouldn't see. Click. The door was pushed open, and Judy walked in with a stack of newspapers. Shaking his head, he saw the two of them hugging each other naked, and the corners of his mouth suddenly raised a smile. Hey, looks like you had a great night. Please, don't you laugh so obscenely. This expression is disgusting. How do you know I'm here? Judy showed 2 rows of big white teeth. Then I have to ask yourself, Leffley was so upset by your screams last night that he went to my house. She said the screams were like killing someone, a man was going to kill a woman, and if she didn't leave, the neighbors would be implicated if they called the police. I'm a little curious, are you too strong or is Godot too weak? Eric wanted to say that you would know if you tried it, but luckily he didn't say anything. What's that in your hand? Judy threw the newspaper over. Take a look, the media evaluation of Happy Death Day. I know that someone wants to see this the most, so I sent it over. Hearing this, Godot's radar was immediately activated. His sleepy eyes disappeared, and he sat up instantly, grabbed the newspaper in his hand, and began to read it seriously. The newspaper was flipped quickly. After a while, the room was filled with the girls' hearty laughter. Honey, look at this. They complimented me on my beauty. Although this is true, they also complimented me on my excellent acting skills. Ha ha ha. And this? Happy Death Day is a wonderful movie and Gal Gadot has a charming temperament in him. Look at this again. Damn, The Independent has scolded us for being garbage and Happy Death Day is a bad movie with bad logic. The director's professional level is very poor and the use of camera is full of shoddy imitations. The acting skills of the heroine Gal Gadot are even worse. She really should go to school to learn professional acting, otherwise it will be difficult for Hollywood to gain a foothold in the future. Benjamin McKenzie's performance was just as terrible. His face didn't fit the campus subject at all. He went his own way. Gadot angrily tore The Independent apart, cursing incessantly. Eric could only stroke her back like a kitten. Don't be angry, baby. They have been with me since I publicly scolded The Independent. Anyway, as long as it's related to me, it's wrong in the eyes of The Independent, and learning to control your emotions is a compulsory course for a qualified actor. Gadot whined aggrievedly a few times, and then suddenly remembered something. Eric, should I really study acting? You applied me to USC last year, but I only showed up when I was in school, and it's been almost a year since now. Eric kissed her forehead and laughed. Honey, there's really no need to take other people's evaluations to heart. Going to school is a waste of life. There's a saying that works best in the entertainment industry. Do you know what it is? It's important to be famous, so you just have to follow the route I've arranged, and everything will not be a problem. Really? But I think my acting skills may really need to be honed. Ha 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 ha. Don't care too much about acting. What is acting? To put it bluntly, it's the way of acting that the media and public opinion tend to. When I grasp public opinion in the future, even if it's a dog pooping, I can package it as an acting school. What's more, although your talent is not too strong, you are not a fool and your acting skills will be there, okay? Gadot snorted a few times. It sounds like you're praising me, but thinking about it feels like you're belittling me again. A week later, even if there are deliberate smears or bad reviews like The Independent, Happy Death Day has still gained the recognition of the vast majority of media and audiences. IMDb's current rating is 7.6 points, which is already very good in the field of horror films, and it is difficult to score 6 on most horror films. The evaluation of Rotten Tomatoes is even more real, with a freshness of 88%, which already speaks for itself. With the filming of 2,000 theaters, coupled with the blessing of word of mouth and fun, Happy Death Day won $26 million at the box office in 3 days over the weekend and $48 million at the box office in a week, winning the box office championship this week. Although it did not exceed the first week box office of Get Out, it was still a huge success. After all, the production and publicity costs are only $13 million, and they are already profitable. The main creative team began to run publicity in major cities and showed their faces on variety shows and talk shows to brush up their popularity. Before the movie was released, Godot only had more than 600,000 fans on Facebook, and My Button, who had the highest number of fans, had reached a terrifying 8 million, a huge difference. But after the movie was released, Godot's number of fans has risen to 1.8 million, which is certainly not comparable to Maiku, but it has been able to squeeze into the top 100 of the public figure list, temporarily ranking 98th. As a result, Benjamin McKenzie also got more film contracts, and the Russo brothers were praised as excellent young directors. Some media have said that they will be the fourth pair of famous director brothers after the Coen brothers, the Wachowski brothers, and the Nolan brothers. Anyway, it's very powerful. It's much more lively than when Zirin was blown, who made the family white-skinned. May Records has been registered and settled in Burbank, and Eric, as the second shareholder, also paid $10 million for startup capital. With his charm and fame, he quickly recruited many professionals, and the company's structure has become almost complete. In a week or two, the opening ceremony will be officially held, and then the singer will be on the right track. Evil Force has been launched, and the protagonist brothers still fall on Jensen Ackles and Judd Paderick. Jensen Ackles, who currently plays his brother Dean, is almost a pure newcomer. Judd Paderick, who plays his younger brother Sam, has been debuting for several years, participated in Gilmore Girls, and is slightly famous among teenagers, but his career has not improved much. And Louis Fay's role was arranged in the 5th episode, and after receiving the notice, she called to thank him, saying that she would fly over to participate in the filming in the near future, and she would definitely thank him when the time came. Hannibal and American Horror Story are forming a crew, and they will start shooting within half a month. Eric hasn't had time to polish the script of Breaking Bad yet, but there is no hurry, and the show is expected to be broadcast next year. At this time, a Wrangler was speeding on the road, arriving at the Nevada military base a few hours later. After careful examination, Eric and the lawyer were allowed to enter, and a captain took them to John Deefel Adams' office. Closing the door, John Adams made coffee for the two. There is only coffee and no tea here, or you can also drink water. The coffee was just fine. After a few pleasantries, neither of them was an ink character, and they started talking about business directly. Eric, you're in luck. Now the Ministry of Defense is preparing to upgrade the Army's intranet. Originally, some of the old equipment, lines, and architectures were going to be phased out, but when I made a suggestion, they thought they could keep a small part of it. That's waste. If you have to say it's so ugly, then yes, think so. But you have to understand that even the waste that is eliminated by the military network is far from the civilian network that can be accessed on the surface. With it, you're guaranteed to be 3 to 5 years ahead of your competitors. Eric nodded, let alone 5 years. Even a 3-year lead would be a huge advantage. He doesn't believe that when YouTube and Lionheart are launched, other groups will not imitate it and competition will definitely appear. John, what about the risk of military leaks? Didn't you worry about this before? John Adams smiled and said, in this regard, you can rest assured that the area reserved for you is specially separated, and it cannot be connected to the military network, and it will not involve military secrets. Then there's the price, and after discussion, the Department of Defense asked for $10 million a year in royalties. The contract lasts for 5 years, and after 5 years, the price will be determined according to the situation, and of course, if the civilian technology develops fast enough, you can also terminate the contract. It's waste recycling, right? Both laughed at the same time. $10 million to buy the right to use garbage in other people's eyes. It's worth it. It's worth it. It's like transferring heavily polluting companies from developed countries to developing countries, even if the pollution is severe. Only then can you have a foundation for development and be ahead of other developing countries. And the price of $10 million may be a little inflated in the first year, but when the oil pipe and Lionheart develop in the second year, it will be cheap. He knew in his heart that if things could be done, John Adams must have put in the effort, and it was time for him to repay the other party. Eric, here's the contract, and it's settled when it's signed. John Adams took out a copy of the contract and handed it over, and the lawyer took it and began to review it carefully and nodded after confirming that it was correct. Eric signed his name and then pulled out a contract from his briefcase, which contained a share agreement from Lionheart.com. John, here's your technology stake agreement, 5% of the shares. John Adams didn't look at the content and chose to sign directly. He was confident that Eric would not play tricks on the agreement. Happy cooperation. Happy cooperation. John, although 5% of the shares may not seem like much, I advise you to keep it. Maybe it will only take 3 or 5 years. It will bring you amazing wealth.
Fast
forward to late September, and as the producer and screenwriter of The Walking Dead, Eric received an invitation to the 55th Emmy Awards. Although awards are not a measure of the value of a drama, but it can increase the added value of a drama. It's time to test the charm of The Walking Dead in the eyes of these judges. The so-called Emmy, a transliteration of the word Emmy, refers to the early image orthodox camera. It is a ceremony dedicated to awarding awards to TV dramas, which can be simply understood as the Oscars in the American drama industry. It is known as the 4 major awards in the American entertainment industry, along with the Grammys, Oscars, and Tony Awards. This Tony Award is a drama award, and Anthony McCann, the actor who escaped from Desperate Town, is the winner of the Tony Award. So when someone asked his father to want to act, Eric agreed without hesitation when he heard that he was a Tony Award winner. In terms of fame alone, the Emmys are certainly not as big as the Oscars and Grammys overseas, and many people have not even heard of them. At most they know about the Oscars, Grammys, and Golden Globes. But the Emmys are no less important in the United States than the Oscars, and at the same time they are far more inclusive than the Oscars. Because the Emmy Awards are not held once a year, but many times they are roughly divided into primetime Emmys and daytime Emmys. The Daytime Emmy Awards cover sports, journalism and documentaries, technology and engineering, youth and students, and more, each of which is held. The Primetime Emmys, on the other hand, refer specifically to the one Eric is going to attend now, and the time is fixed on a Sunday in September every year. The so-called primetime refers to programs that air between 8 p.m. and 12 p.m. Generally speaking, it is either a TV series or a reality show, and major TV stations rarely use this time period to broadcast anything else, which is a waste of resources. In addition to the Primetime Emmys and Daytime Emmys, there is actually a branch of the Emmys called the International Emmys. As the name suggests, in addition to domestic dramas in the United States, other countries in the world, as long as they join the International Academy of Television Arts and Sciences in the United States, become a member, and pay an annual membership fee, they are eligible to select and send their own dramas to participate. So, how much gold is there in this International Emmy Awards? Is it 3 or 4 stories that high? Is it a big bonus for the actor himself? There's a big fart, but if it is of any use, it will not be useless. As long as you sign up, you will be shortlisted, and whoever stuffs more money will win, which is the general award rules. It's equivalent to going to the United States to spend money to buy a diploma, which is pretty much what it means. Eric remembers that when The Legend of Zhen Huan was shortlisted for the International Emmy Awards, many viewers were excited, thinking that it was so powerful and it was still Yankees. Unscrupulous media also confuse the public, directly simplifying the International Emmy Awards into Emmy Awards. The problem is that you are not an American drama competing for an Emmy Award. These reports are also deceiving Xiaobai, who doesn't understand anything, and many industry insiders and knowledgeable viewers watch it for fun. The so-called International Emmy Awards, it is more appropriate to change the Celebrity Love and Sophistication Award, and the gold content is not even as good as the Golden Rooster and 100 Flowers Award more than 10 years later. Just a joke. the Los Angeles Temple Theater at this time. As a theater with a long history, it has hosted various award ceremonies. Oscars, Golden Globes, Emmys, Screen Actors Guild Awards, etc. Almost all of the people who can be invited here today to attend the awards ceremony are Hollywood stars with names and surnames. Among them, not only the stars of the small screen, but also the stars of the big screen will also be invited to participate. At this time, the outside of the Grand Theater of the Temple was already crowded. The red carpet was laid for hundreds of meters. Reporters kept pressing the shutter, and fans gathered around both sides screaming. Peter parked the car, and Eric pushed the door open and walked down. He came alone as usual and didn't partner with the Walking Dead crew. Walking along the red carpet, he knew that the cries of these fans were not for him. After all, he still belonged to the people behind the scenes. So I don't have nostalgia. I just want to hurry into the theater, find my place, and be a quiet, beautiful man. Next to it is the crew of the hit drama 6 Feet Under, which is also HBO's current pillar. 6 Feet Under, The Sopranos, and The Walking Dead make up the 3 pillars of HBO today. But tonight, this crew will be competitors. Eric didn't pay attention to them after taking a look. They were all actors on the small screen, and they had never been on the big screen in their lives. After going through the crew of Will and Grace, The White House, and Everybody Loves Raymond, 4 appeared in front of Eric. From Sex and the City, or it can also be called Lust City, the 4 leading actors, Sarah Jessica Parker, Cynthia Nixon, Kristen Davis, and Kim Cattrall. "Hey, Eric, see you." Spotting Eric passing by, Kristen Davis's eyes lit up, and she hurriedly came over to say hello with a smile, very familiar. When casting the heroine of House of Cards a few months ago, Kristen Davis auditioned, but only got an apology, but it was also familiar. The same was true for Sarah Jessica Parker, who noticed the situation and walked over quickly to say hello. As for the other 2, they didn't participate in the audition and had nothing to do with Eric, but naturally they knew Eric's identity. Was stopped by 2 mature women, and in full view of everyone, Eric was not embarrassed to ignore others, so he could only respond with a smirk. "Eric, you're so handsome and charming today. This suit is so worthy of your figure," Sarah Jessica Parker praised. "No, he's always handsome and charming, and every time he sees me, he wants to swallow him," Kristen Davis added. "Hollywood is always open, whether it's dressing up or joking." Eric replied casually, "Ladies, you guys are also charming, but luckily we are not competitors tonight. Otherwise, I would have been tempted to throw in the towel." Ha 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 ha. The 2 women immediately giggled. Kristen Davis approached, licked the corners of her lips, and whispered, "We can be competitors tonight if you want." Eric glanced at her. "Damn, it's really she actually seduced me in public. It seems that she really wants to improve." The camera shutter kept clicking, and the reporters motioned for Christine to come closer. She simply grabbed Eric's arm. Huh. Eric could visibly feel his arm touching something soft. Seeing Kristen Davis climbing, Sarah Jessica Parker was not to be outdone, and took the initiative to walk to the right and grab Eric's other arm. Hit another soft thing. After taking a few photos, the reporters simply shouted for Cynthia Nixon and Kim Cattrall to come together. Then Eric was surrounded by 4 mature women, and his breath was full of ripe apples. It is the kind of apple that may have a black skin and a relatively soft flesh, which can rot if you poke it. The flash was dazzling wildly, and the reporters asked for a few more shots from a different angle. Eric really wanted to roll his eyes and leave, but he had to cooperate in order to maintain his image. "Hey, Eric, you look happy." At this time, someone next to him greeted him, and Eric tilted his head to see that it was Brad Pitt. He immediately squeezed out of the pile of women. "Sorry, ladies. Good luck tonight." Kristen Davis pouted slightly and winked at him. Walked over and said hello to Pete, The two had seen each other many times at premieres and various parties. Brad Pitt is currently a first-line male star in Hollywood, and he is qualified to stand with him, and he can be regarded as a friend who can have 2 drinks and chat a few words together. When Facebook was first launched, it was very active in helping to promote it. After chatting for a few words, Eric asked curiously, "These reporters seem to be saying that you are also a guest on the shortlist?" Brad Pitt made a gesture that "You seem to look down on me. Eric, I'm a finalist for Best Guest Actor in a Comedy." Saying that, he leaned into Eric's ear and told the truth. "I didn't want to participate, mainly to accompany Aniston." After listening to him, Eric suddenly remembered that Brad Pitt had made a cameo appearance in an episode of Friends, so it was. While talking, Petra led Eric to the Friends crew. "Eric, I'll introduce you. My wife, Jennifer Aniston, this is." No introduction, Courtney Cox, Lisa Kudrow, David Humont, Matthew Perry, Matt LeBlanc. "I love Friends. I love every character in it. You guys are really the best and most likable on-screen partners. Ha 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 ha." To be appreciated, all 6 of them also let out exaggerated laughter. Although it was the first time they met, Eric assured that he was a big of Friends, and before the time crossing, this was his favorite American drama, and there was no one. If it weren't for the rights in NBC's hands, he really wanted to buy it. "Come on, let's take a few group photos. It's not a long time to gather the 6 of you offline." After the shooting, Eric looked at the reporter of the Los Angeles Times. "After the photo is washed out, please send it to me. You know the address." Brad Pitt was a little surprised. "Eric, it seems that you are not lying." "Of course," I said. "Absolute superfans." Inside the theater, Eric walked and talked with Pete and Aniston. Jennifer Aniston winked, and her husband Pete pretended to be casual and asked, "Eric, Jennifer has accumulated enough popularity on the small screen." Actually, she has always had the idea of developing into films. Has MGM had a project suitable for her recently? Looking at this blonde girl who is known as the last American sweetheart, Eric can't help but sigh that she does have a charm in her, which belongs to Rachel Green's charm. What is an American sweetheart? This title is not something that can be obtained by any female star, and the requirements are far more than just beauty. The first is that the sweetheart must be sweet, a strong woman, 2 big breasts, 2 long legs, such as Angelina Jolie, Scarlett Johansson, the type that makes a man's crotch heat first and then cool will definitely not be touched. The second is that the personality is a little confused, but Leon is positive and positive, not a green tea, and glamorous people like Elizabeth Taylor and Emma Roberts can't be selected. The third person should be kind-hearted, and generally he will not speak ill of himself even if he is bullied, like a little crying bag, such as Anne Hathaway and Kala Savini. Fourth, you must have the feeling of a girl next door, show a sense of intimacy, do not pretend, and at the same time not give people a sense of holiness that is high and cannot be blasphemed, such as Emma Watson's is too pretending, Audrey Hepburn is too fairy, and Grace Kelly is too royal, which is not in line. In the end, if you have to be American, and you have to be blonde and white-skinned, Theron and Halle Berry will be sifted out. All of Aniston's characters fit in, and it can be said that the character of Rachel is written according to the American sweetheart. When Aniston played Rachel for 10 years, she naturally became the true embodiment of America's sweetheart. At the same time, such a standard, such a custom role, will never appear again in the future. Out-of-print titles. Eric smiled. Character? Let me think about it. His mind recalled the films Jennifer Aniston had starred in, and there were indeed a few of the more representative and commercially successful ones. For example, Marley and Me, Evil Boss, and Fake Family. Aniston has contributed good acting skills and box office appeal. None of these films are time-sensitive. They belong to the genre that can be successful in any era, and it is not bad to shoot them in advance, which can be used as MGM's 2004 project. Jennifer, do you like dogs? Jennifer Aniston was stunned for a moment, thinking that this question was so jumpy. Of course, I love dogs, and I have two Great Danes at home. It's good, MGM does have a project, a heartwarming family movie about dogs. Hachiko, a loyal dog? Asked Pete. No, it's not a tragedy. It's a comedy, a heartwarming comedy, and I think Jennifer can be the heroine. Really? Aniston covered her mouth in surprise. She just had the idea of trying it out, and she didn't expect to get the role at all. Since becoming popular with Rachel, I have also made several movies, but unfortunately they all failed, and gradually there is no project to find myself again. Aniston thought about whether to start with a small-budget independent film or stage play. Of course it's true. The script is being written and is expected to be released next year. Are you interested? Yes, very interested. Oh my God, like a big pie suddenly fell into my mouth. My dear, I just said that it was the right choice to attend this party, and it seems that this lucky ring really worked. You look happy. You really look like Rachel. After chatting with the two for a while, Eric found the table of the Walking Dead crew. Frank Dalibant, Andrew Lincoln, Norman Reedus, Wu Yanzu, Balafali, and several others gathered around the round table. Pick up a small snack and put it in your mouth. The college has prepared high-quality goods, and the taste is quite good. Daniel, aren't you filming in Xiangjiang? It's finished filming, and my scene is finished. It's a Jackie Chan movie. Well, new police story. I play the villain. Yes, with your face, the future is bright. Wu Yanzu grinned and said, Boss, it's worse than you. Welcome to the 55th Primetime Emmy Awards. I'm host Ellen DeGeneres. I'm host Conan O'Brien. I'm host Martin Short. I'm host Gary Sanderling. After a period of singing and dancing, several hosts appeared on the stage one after another and spoke witticisms in the opening words, which were a bit similar to Huaxia's group comedy. Eric, how many prizes can we win? Asked Falafali quietly. Eric shook his head slightly. I don't know. I hope the Academy will give a few more. Otherwise, I won't be too lazy to participate in the future. Everybody says the drama category is a competition between 6 Feet Down and The White House, with 19 nominations for the former and 17 nominations for the latter, and we only have 11 nominations. 11 is not a lot. The Walking Dead is only in its first season, 6 Feet Under is in its third season, and White House is also in its fifth season, and they already have an advantage. Frank Dabin explained. Director, are you sure you'll win the award? What's the award? The best director? The big bald brow furrowed. I don't think there is much hope. The theme of The Walking Dead is still more attractive to young people, and with the character of those judges in the Academy, it would be good to be nominated. This is because our drama is influential enough, and it is indeed the most phenomenal drama this year, but I am afraid it will be difficult to win awards. Wu Yanzu nodded approvingly. Those judges must be thinking, The Walking Dead is only the first season. Anyway, there will be a second, third, or even 10th season in the future, and it is not too late to give it then, so let's give it to others first. Boss, I think you can expect the best screenwriter in the drama category, and the Academy must also pay attention to balance, and it is impossible to give us nothing. Frank de Labant said, it's acceptable to win Best Screenplay, and it's the first tier of awards in addition to Best Drama Series. The first echelon that Darabont refers to is the general rule for all award ceremonies. There are high and low actors, and there are also awards. First of all, whether it is a movie or a TV series, the most important award is the Best Picture, which is indisputable. The actor is as important as the actress and belongs to the first echelon of awards. Then there's the difference between Best Director and Best Screenplay. If it is an Oscar, Best Director undoubtedly carries more weight than Best Screenplay because cinema is the art of directing. The Emmys, on the other hand, are much more important than Best Directors because TV dramas are a screenwriter-dominated field. But regardless of the difference between the two, these 5 awards belong to the first echelon of awards. Then there are the Best Supporting Actor and Actress, Best Editing, Best Cinematography, etc. And then there are technical awards such as Best Makeup, Best Costumes, Best Props, Best Voice Acting, etc. Although The Walking Dead was not shortlisted for Best Series, it was shortlisted for Best Director and Best Screenplay, depending on the choice of the Academy. If it was Saturn, we'd sweep everything. Andrew Lincoln said. On the stage, the first award began to be awarded Best Supporting Actress in a Comedy, which was won by Doris Roberts of Everybody Loves Raymond. Then, there was the Best Mix for a Standalone Job, which was won by Spring in the Emergency Room. This was followed by the Best Costume in the Variety Show or Music Program category, which was finally won by Cher, Farewell Concert. The first few awards were all about The Walking Dead until the 4th technical category. The guest of honor is Hugh Jackman, and the combination of popular actors and awards with low attention can be regarded as an old tradition of pulling ratings. The nominees for Best Special Effects Makeup are The Walking Dead, Normandy, Double Spy, CSI Crime Scene, and Project Laramie. Let me see what the winners are. Uncle Wolf stopped halfway through speaking, looked down and laughed, and when he smiled, someone laughed along. Whetting his appetite, Hugh Jackman announced loudly, "Congratulations to the Zombie Legion for winning the award." There was a warm applause below, and the other 4 crews were also very convinced, although they all involved makeup special effects, but the difficulty was obviously not of an order of magnitude. Zombies require not only hideous faces, but also 3-dimensional facial features and mutilated limbs. Each group performance has to put on makeup for several hours, and the makeup team is the largest number of people in the Walking Dead crew. Eric patted the makeup artist on the shoulder on behalf of Jack Garber. "Go ahead, bring the trophy that belongs to you." The man excitedly walked briskly onto the stage and took the trophy from Uncle Wolf. "Thank you to the Academy and thank you to the judges for giving us this award. It's a reward for those of us who work behind the scenes, and I'm so happy to get it. I would also like to thank the director de la Bont and every actor in the crew. They were very nice and cooperative with our work. And then I would like to thank the writer and producer, Mr. Eric Cooper, for providing a great story and being willing to pour a lot of money into it, so we have room to play. Thank you very much." After giving his speech, Jack Garber returned to his seat and kissed the trophy vigorously, and everyone took turns congratulating him. The awards continued, and after several reality show awards were awarded, it was the turn of the first award of the gala, the Best Actress in a Comedy category. The guest of honor is Robin Williams. Needless to say about Uncle Robin's works, Eric is a very favorite actor, and all comedies and dramas are excellent. It's a pity that creation makes people, and fate is not kind to this person who brings happiness to everyone. He suffered from one of the most terrifying diseases in the world, Lewy dementia. This disease not only makes people lose control of their limbs, but also has a decrease in spatial perception, amnesia, sleep disorders, neurological disorders, loss of consciousness, depression, hallucinations, and other effects. The most terrifying thing is that the patient can feel his brain collapsing little by little, but there is nothing he can do, which is the most desperate feeling. In the end, he chose to hang himself while he still had some consciousness and died with the disease. Later autopsy reports showed that Robin Williams' intelligence before his death had degenerated to about 3 years old, which was embarrassing. The nominees are all sexy and humorous women: Patricia Heaton in Everybody Loves Raymond, Jennifer Aniston in Friends, Jane Kaczmarek in Malcolm's Family, Sarah Jessica Parker in Sex and the City, and Deborah Mezin in Will and Grace. The winner was Will and Grace Deborah Ramsey. The crowd applauded, but Eric didn't clap, and he naturally wanted Friends to win. But looking at Rachel's happy smile on the big screen, I thought that I would get the heroine of the movie, and I could dilute a lot of the loss of not winning the award. Then the best animation was unsurprisingly won by The Simpsons without any controversy. Seeing The Simpsons win the award, Eric felt that it was time for him to develop MGM's animation business, and he couldn't always be obsessed with movies and TV series. Before The Crossing, he loved watching Rick and Morty and Peppa Pig. The former had great script ideas, and the latter he watched with relish. In Eric's opinion, Peppa Pig is one of the few all-ages anime after Cat and Mouse. The production difficulty is low, the commercial profit is high, and it is a very high-quality project that can be put on the agenda. After a few awards, it came to the Best Supporting Actor award in the drama category, and Norman Reedus was shortlisted. Award presenter Lucy Liu opened the envelope and read, "The nominees for Best Supporting Actor in the drama category are Jayapan Pantoliano in The Sopranos, Jeremy Sisto in 6 Feet Under, Carlos Bonar in 24 Hours, Kenny Johnson in The Shield, and Norman Reedus in The Walking Dead." The award went to Norman Reedus from The Walking Dead, and let's congratulate him. Hearing that he had won the award, Brother Crossbow stood up excitedly and instantly hugged everyone and walked onto the podium. Thank you. Thank you very much to the Academy for giving me the award. It's been 7 years since I debuted. This is the first trophy I have ever received. Tonight will be an important moment in my acting career. I will always remember it. Thank you to everyone on the crew. They're all excellent partners, and Mr. Cooper Jr. I heard that I was able to get this role. It was specially approved by him. Thank you very much. The camera immediately showed Eric, and his handsome angular face was suddenly reflected on the big screen. Many female actors are sighing in their hearts that they are really fucking handsome, rich and powerful, young and handsome. What a perfect partner. I don't know which little bitch will be cheaper. Brother Crossbow happily returned to his seat and took a sip of his wine glass. It was really a wonderful night. Thank you, Mr. Cooper. You created a charismatic character so that I could get the trophy. Everyone whispered. Only Via Lavari was not natural because she was also shortlisted for Best Supporting Actress in the drama category. However, following the principle of balance, her probability of winning the award has decreased a lot. 10 minutes later, sure enough, reality confirmed her hunch, and the Best Supporting Actress was won by The Sopranos. On the big screen, Valleyberry could only put on a smirk, which he had practiced many times in private, applauding to show his recognition and open-mindedness. After the camera cut away, she lowered her head and secretly revealed the fuck lip shape. Not angry? How can you not be angry? This is the first prize of the old lady, and it is gone. You can only pick up snacks and wine glasses and binge eat. He's to make up for the wounded heart. Later, The Walking Dead won the Best Visual Effects Award and the Best Sound Effects Award, but unfortunately it also lost the awards for Best Editing in the Drama category, Best Casting in the Drama category, and Best Cinematography in the Multi-Camera category. Eric was also a little disappointed that Friends lost Best Actor in a Comedy, and Matthew Perry, who played Chandler, missed out on the award. In the end, Friends only won one Best Cameo Actress in a Comedy, which was won by actress Christina Applegate, who played Rachel's sister Amy. Other people's meals are wiped with 0, but if you wipe the front, there will be a 0 left. So far, The Walking Dead is only left with 2 nominations for Best Screenplay and Best Director in the Drama category. In the eyes of the audience, Nico, who only won the Oscar this year, walked out of the backstage, wearing a floral cheongsam and the concentric knot necklace, looking very beautiful. Eric was a little surprised to see her appear, and she didn't tell herself that she would attend the party, which was strange. Walking to the center of the stage, Nico smiled and looked around, winking mischievously at Eric. Screenwriters are the soul of a TV series. They create excellent stories, and they create characters with vivid personalities. I've always believed that screenwriting is the cornerstone of our industry, and that without the dedication of screenwriters, there would be no prosperity in Hollywood. The nominees tonight are all dreamers I admire, and some have been nominated multiple times. Pictures of Alan Sorkin, the screenwriter of The White House, and Alan Ball, the screenwriter of 6 Feet Under, suddenly appeared on the big screen. There are also people who are nominated for the first time. This time, the big screen appeared in a photo of 24 Hours screenwriter Joel Suno. Some people are late bloomers and middle-aged people. Shown on the big screen is CSI Crime Scene Investigation screenwriter Chuck Lowry. There are also people who are young and full of aura. After Nico finished speaking, Eric appeared on the big screen, and the Academy chose to write at his desk, but he actually posed for the picture himself. This pose is accompanied by a yellow table lamp, and there are many manuscripts scattered on the ground, and the composition is exquisite and charming. It gives people the impression that this young man is not only handsome, but also very serious and talented. Oh my! Nico opened the envelope and subconsciously exclaimed. The people sitting below are all human spirits, which can surprise the actress, and they definitely see extraordinary results. So, who of the 5 won the most impactful award? Many people immediately thought of something, and many eyes were on Eric. Nico took a deep breath, as if she had won the award. The best screenwriter in the drama category won Eric Cooper from The Walking Dead. OH! In an instant, the audience exclaimed, such as Uncle Wolf and Pete, who had some friendships, all applauded and chanted. There are also many people who are purely shocked, and the camera sweeps over, and many people have an unbelievable look on their faces, as if they have seen the most incredible thing happening. The reason why many people are shocked is that Eric is only 23 years old this year, just 23 years old. What does this age represent? The most influential awards in the world film industry today are global and regional, including the Oscars, Golden Globes, Emmys, 3 European awards, Tokyo, Golden Horse, Golden Statue, and so on. The youngest screenwriter currently nominated is John Singleton, who was nominated for an Oscar for Best Original Screenplay for Block Boy at the age of 24. Excluding the Pheasant Award, 24 years old is already the limit on record. And Eric brought the age forward by another year, and he was awarded, not nominated, and the difficulty went up a few dimensions. At this moment, everyone didn't care about the boss's coercion and style, and they all excitedly hugged Eric in the middle, and he almost lost it to the sky. It could be clearly seen on the big screen, and even Eric himself stared, visibly taken aback. All right, boys, get Eric on stage to accept the award. Nicole is waiting. Darabont pushed the crowd away and gave Eric a way out. He froze down, looked at the smiling beauty on the stage, and the golden trophy in her hand, and strode forward. As soon as he stood up, his hind feet had not yet landed, and a fragrant wind had already rushed into his arms. Immediately, in front of thousands of celebrities and more than 20 million viewers in front of the TV, the two kissed together. Some of them stared wide-eyed and opened their mouths in a look of astonishment. There are also some old actors who are not surprised by the casual approach of young people, but clap their palms as if encouraging, fully demonstrating what it means to watch the excitement is not a big deal. Others have a melon-eating expression, wondering if this is a designed link or an impromptu idea. In the cameraman's headset, the director's roar and command sounded. Pull the camera quickly, take a close-up of my face. Come closer, and I'll see if they're sticking their tongues out. The assistant director looked at the stage excitedly. Tonight is really a lucky night. I have a hunch that the ratings of this year's Emmy Awards will also break records. The director's eyes were just as bright. I really should be grateful to the Academy. If it wasn't for their audacity to give the award to Eric Cooper, how could we have seen such a powerful picture? The party was bustling, and the outside of the Grand Theater was just as lively. In more than 40 countries such as the United States, the United Kingdom, France, and Germany, Tens of millions of homes are shouting and screaming. Cynthia, get out of the bathroom. Nicole Kidman is kissing one of the winners. Dad, come and see. The record has been broken, and the youngest Emmy Award for Best Screenplay in history has been born. What? Didn't 6 Feet Under win the award? No, it was The Walking Dead that won the trophy. This kid is so young, and he got a kiss from Nicole Kidman. Why don't you give White House? This kind of zombie drama should go to the Saturn Awards. Are those judges stupid? He definitely stuffed money. In addition to ordinary movie fans, there are also many people close to Eric who are also watching the Emmy Awards. Godot and Judy sat on the couch, the former now frowning at the TV screen, his beer hanging in midair. Originally, when she saw Eric win the award, she happily clinked glasses with Judy, and then she saw the scene. Thinking of the scandal that the two had once rumored, I suddenly had a bad premonition in my heart, and I always felt that there was something wrong here. Godot is just skeptical, and Judy can probably be sure that with Eric's flowery carrot personality, he definitely has a leg with Nicole Kidman. She hurriedly interrupted and said, "That's awesome, Godot. This trophy is enough to make Eric go down in film history, cheer." Godot continued to stare at the screen suspiciously, and suddenly she opened her mouth and asked, "Judy, why did Nicole Kidman kiss Eric?" Well, maybe I'm happy for Eric, after all, breaking the historical record, maybe only this once in a lifetime, and they're also friends, so my head is hot. Being in the scene is definitely not the same as watching TV. The atmosphere ignites everyone. The blood rushes to the brain. It makes everyone a fool. In short, nothing. When Adrian Brody won the Best Actor, he was not very excited to kiss Halle Berry. Okay, don't think about it. We just bet that if Eric wins, you're going to blow a whole bottle. Don't play tricks. Godot nodded slowly, thinking that this explanation made sense. The West was already more open. She lifted the bottle, but her eyes fell on the concentric knot necklace around Nico's neck. At this moment, a bad feeling hit my heart again, and the shape of that necklace was so chic that it was difficult not to attract attention. It's a bit similar to the studs that Eric gave me. Huaxia, did he give it to that woman? Along with Godot's doubts, Theron was watching the TV with her hands on her chest. But after thinking about it briefly, it's not a good thing. Maybe it's just an accidental phenomenon of excitement. After the two established a relationship, they were tired of being together for half of the nights of the week, and they were often tossed and tired, and they could no longer get up early to exercise as before. In the other half of the time, Eric has a variety of socializing and work, often having to work overtime, and has to eat with his family. She knew that her boyfriend's mom was Catholic and valued family time, so Eric usually didn't miss family events. Counting all these miscellaneous things, he doesn't have much time left for 7 days a week. In such a tense situation, it is impossible to with Nicole Kidman again without any thoughts. Not to mention that the time is too late, and the body can't bear it. Nicole Kidman was in her 30s, and it was the time when she was like a wolf and a tiger was liberated. After Eric tossed himself, and then went to be juiced by the tigress, wouldn't it be 7 days of continuous rotation? He's not a spinning top, and he's already broken down by playing like this. However, his body still looks great every day, so it can be inferred from time and energy. No way.
Absolutely impossible.
But poor Theron didn't know that Nicole Kidman lived in the building next door to hers. 5 minutes on foot, 1 minute on the elevator, and then there, it's that fast. So Eric often comforts Nico with his front foot and then finds an excuse to leave and go back to her, or reverse the order. During this period, I will take a night or two to sleep with Godot. During the day, they find time to hold a 3-person party for the Olsen sisters, directly in the Double Star Entertainment or MGM building, anyway, in the name of talking about work, and outsiders can't find fault with it. There are special luxury restrooms in the building, and you can relax with a massage after the end. In addition, The work is not as busy as Theron thinks. He is the CEO, and more often than not, he thinks strategically, reviews and listens to reports, and makes decisions. The meetings are also concise and to the point, and the implementation is the responsibility of the people below. So everything just went in an orderly manner. Eric sometimes thinks that he should transfer Godot to be neighbors with Nico and Theron so that he can save a lot of time on the road. I still have the strength to spare, and I can work hard a little more and take care of one or two more beautiful women. As the old saying goes, with great power comes great responsibility. Nope. It should be that the greater the ability, the more chicks. Unlike Godot's doubts and Theron's self-strategy, the Olsen sisters are naturally angry. The two sisters yelled at the TV, and the room was filled with foul language such as bitch, shameless, adulterer, dog, man, and woman. Although they are the youngest, they have the deepest understanding of the flowery nature of their men. After all, they have experienced it personally. How many men sleep with twin sisters on the same day, at the same hour, and at the same minute? Having an idea and putting it into practice are two different things, regardless of whether they take the initiative to seduce or not. Being able to accept it shows that a man's mind is absolutely impure. But what else can you do if you look at each other after scolding? To warn Eric to be honest? That guy will definitely agree on the surface and continue to do his own thing behind his back. I can't control it. I really can't control it. With the chaotic relationship between the three of them, they have the least right to speak. Ashley, this bastard is cheating in public. What are we going to do? What else can I do? I can't kill him. At most, I'll exhaust him. But Eric doesn't seem to run out of energy, and it lasts longer than the two of us combined. 2 is not enough, so 3 are on it together. Huh. What are you talking about? No, nothing. Alas, I regret it a little. I shouldn't have been deceived by him in the first place, and I took Adele's life, and now I can't go back. Outside, it was bloody and rainy, and Eric was also sucked by Nico's sucking of a spirit. After kissing a few times, I hurriedly put myself in the right position, but fortunately I didn't subconsciously stick out my tongue to go over. Little slut, I'll clean you up when I get home. Nico snorted, didn't continue to embarrass him, took the initiative to let go of her arm, and handed him the trophy. Ha 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 ha. When you don't know what to say, just smirk a few times, and everyone will think you're a simple person. He laughed, and many people below laughed too, and a fool whistled loudly. A coping strategy flashed through his mind, and Eric pointed ahead with a smirk. I know, you want this too, right? Yes. Quite a few people responded. He pretended to look at Nico, then at the trophy in his hand, and then held the trophy in his arms. I'm sorry, I'm talking about the kiss of the Oscar-winning actress, but not this trophy, it's mine. It is my precious. It is mine. Ha 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 ha. Uttering the classic line of Gollum in The Lord of the Rings, it immediately made the audience laugh. Diluting the flame of passion with a joke, Eric made up for it. Thank you, Nicole, for giving me the award. She called me a knight at the Oscars. I called her Lady Luck at the Emmys. Thank you. Thank you to the Academy for choosing me out of 5. My opponents are the best screenwriters. I respect them, and I will learn from them. And the entire crew of The Walking Dead, which took a lot of time from thousands of people and was the result of our collective labor, and I have to thank everyone. Finally, my family, I love you. After Eric finished speaking, the theater burst into applause. In a high position, well-spoken, handsome, talented, suave, humorous, and generous. When so many good things are concentrated in one person, it's hard not to love him. Then awarded the Best Director award in the comedy category, which was won by Dissipation. The award for Best Director in the drama category was won by The White House, and as Frank de la Bant expected, it was given to Best Screenplay, not Best Director. In the end, Everybody Loves Raymond won the Best Comedy Series, and Friends didn't win a single important award. The best drama series went to The Sopranos. After the awards ceremony, it is naturally the old rule Vanity Fair party. However, Eric is too lazy to participate, and the actors like to participate because they need to rely on exposure to maintain the heat. With popularity, there will be popularity, and with popularity, it can be transformed into box office attraction, and with box office attraction, there will be projects to find themselves, and then they can also ask for higher salaries. Eric doesn't need it at all. He represents capital. Walk out of the Grand Theater of the Temple and leave by car. Not long after returning to the apartment, even if there was no discussion beforehand, but with a clear heart, Nico pushed open the door and walked in. Smack. Ah, you hurt me, bastard. Does it hurt? There's more to come. Snort. Regardless of the woman's resistance, the Chong Sam, worth thousands of dollars, was directly torn apart violently. Eric tied Nico's hands behind her back with shredded strips of cloth and then blindfolded her. Honey, what do you want to do? I'm a little scared. Without saying a word, Eric pushed her to the bedroom and slapped her hard. No, it hurts. Please spare me. Dear, I know it's wrong. What's wrong? I shouldn't be too excited, but I couldn't hold back when I saw you win, just like I won the Oscar. I think you did it on purpose. With another heavy slap in the face, Nico hurriedly shook her head. Of course not. I just can't help myself. My man broke history, and love made me uncontrollable. Eric, my love, I love you. Listening to Nico's weeping expressions of love, Eric was also a little confused, and it seemed that he was thinking too much. He also thought that the other party was going to swear sovereignty in this way and warn the other women. Maybe it was really her fault. Nico just loved herself too much. Hee. Ha ha ha. Suddenly, feeling the woman shaking slightly, Nico obviously wanted to hold back a smile, but she didn't. You just did it on purpose. Whatever you want. Giggle. Sure enough, the more beautiful a woman is, the more she knows how to deceive people. Okay, play like this. It seems that I have to teach you a lesson. Let the horses come. After more than an hour, looking at Nico, who was already asleep, and covering her with the quilt, Eric left. It's only 11 o'clock in the evening, which is not too late. It should be in time. 10 minutes later, the long-awaited Theron opened the door for him. Time was tight, and Eric came up and charged. In just an hour, Theron was already weak. After a while, the man said, Honey, I can't spend the night with you tonight. My mother is still waiting at home. Theron snorted, Go back quickly. Emily must be in a hurry to wait. Another wet French kiss, and Eric reluctantly left the house. I got to the car, took out the medicinal wine and green juice, poured a big sip, and arrived at Godot's apartment half an hour later. Godot, who had been waiting for a long time, pounced on him with an arrow. Eric sneaks around and notices that Balafali hasn't returned yet, presumably flying above the party. Especially the little actor likes this kind of social occasion the most. She can build relationships and meet many big stars. She absolutely won't miss out. But this is just right, and it is suitable for making excuses for yourself. Sorry, baby, I really wanted to come back with you sooner, but those people pulled me. They were so enthusiastic that I couldn't leave at all. I understand, Eric. Congratulations, you're the best. Godot put his doubts to a halt for a moment, knowing that now was not the time to ask a disappointment. Step into the bathroom and take a mandarin duck bath. After more than an hour, the battle was stopped and Mingjin withdrew his troops. Eric fell asleep with Godot in his arms and spent the night here tonight, which must have dispelled many of her doubts.